What's going on, guys? It's Doss. Welcome back to another real-world vehicle ownership review video. Well, not exactly. You see, I'm a big fan of vehicles that have been discontinued for absolutely no reason, in which they would do extremely well in today's market. So thanks to a very generous dealership here in Denver, Colorado, Worldwide Vintage Autos, they're allowing me to get this pristine 2001 Ford Excursion up close and personal, provided in front of the camera for you guys to educate you with some knowledge and what this particular vehicle is. Let's get started. For starters, I like to think of the Ford Excursion as basically a Super Duty without the bed on the back, or basically a permanent camper shell. As you can see, this one is huge. Not only the aftermarket accessories make this thing look even bigger, but let's get to some of the facts, since this particular vehicle is a new arrival and for sale at the moment. Now, these vehicles tend to hold their value extremely well. This one is no exception, considering it's a 7.3, the most desirable motor in these particular trucks. Turbo diesel with 65 original 1,000 miles on it, automatic transmission, extremely cool air conditioning, power steering, power brakes, four-wheel disc brakes, four-wheel drive, limited trim, heavily optioned, leather interior with the center captain's chairs option, suspension lift, custom steel front and rear bumpers, winch, custom wheels, oversized tires, LED lights, WeatherTech floor mats, and auto lift side steps. All right, so my tripod is pretty much maxed out at this point, but since this is a vehicle for sale and it's in the most pristine condition as possible, speaking on reliability, there's not much to really talk about, considering these 7.3s are the most desirable motors in these early 2000s Super Duty trucks. So even though this motor has the few upgrades I just mentioned, the original displacement is still the 444 cubic inch-pound 90-degree V8 turbo diesel engine. The 2001 Excursion only offered the XLT and the limited trim level, but you also had the option between the 5.4-liter V8, the 6.8-liter Triton V10, or the 7.3, which is this one. Obviously, you had an option of two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. Even the seating varied from 5 to 8 seats or 9 seats for passengers. All kinds of goodies like a roof-mounted CD player, towing packages with a 2-inch receiver, exterior with the illuminated running boards. These are the original, but heated power and telescoping mirrors. Even a transmission oil cooler was optional in your towing package. Holy crap, this thing had a lot of tech. The original Ford Excursion was launched in 1999 as a 2000 model. The Ford Excursion was built on the heavy-duty F-250 Super Duty platform, weighing over 7,000 pounds and measured at 227 inches long, and could tow up to 11,000 pounds. But the rising gas prices and the dropping demand led to its discontinuation in 2005, sadly. But luckily for you, this particular unit is available right now. It's a new arrival. It's fresh. This video is fresh, like just dropping. So the link will be in the description. Come pick it up today. I also have to point out, well, I don't know if it's just simply cost cutting from newer vehicles these days, but there's nothing more old school than that single halogen light bulb that's stuck up there on the inside of the hood. I just think that's a classic look. All right, so before we cover a little bit about the interior, I want to try out the barn doors in the rear. It's my first time operating them, so let's find out together. Pretty sure you have to start with this handle right here. This whole glass comes up. It's extremely heavy. And then, oh, look, you have a little handle right there. Boom. This side will come out. And then, pretty self-explanatory. If you just take your time and look around, you'll find the door handles. But this is cool, though. You have plenty of room back here. It looks like there's some type of aftermarket hook back there for some reason. Cigarette-style outlet right here. You do. Look at that. That's crazy. And then your jack, as if you may need something a little bit bigger or heavier dutier than your traditional bottle jack or what. Let's see what's behind this panel. Let's see what they offer you from the, it's not even in there. But either way, though, there's a blower motor. So at least you got, a good, easy way to replace that if you ever need it. But I know some people even remove that third row seat, but even with the third row seat, you still have plenty of room. Look at how huge and gigantic this thing is. So let's finish the rest of the interior. All right, inside the Excursion now, I have to say I get extremely impressed when I see vehicles with this level of aftermarket accessories, and everything is so perfect. It almost looks factory. You got the screen up here to the left on top of the dashboard, even your nice racy looking pedals, your brake controller. Not necessarily a big fan of aftermarket infotainment screens, but this one has its Alpine and it looks pretty nice. They got the little spacers on the left and right to kind of even out the spaces because it doesn't necessarily fit exactly in there. But look at the gauge cluster, this nice looking gauge cluster. I'm not sure if this is factory or not, but does it look good. One thing I wasn't necessarily a fan of with these older generation Fords is that the 2-spoke steering wheels just look outdated regardless. I think even back then as well. But you got this really cool center console that's for some reason detached from, it's basically just a kind of floating island right here. But at least when you lift it up, you got a little area right here where you can store, I think you already know what I was going to say, 12-volt cigarette style outlet. You got cup holders. You have your climate control. You have your rear defroster. You got parking sensors, your 4-wheel drive high, your 4-wheel drive low, your 2-wheel drive. You have another power spot right here next to this little digital readout. You got a little trash bag hanger if you need that. You have multiple storage areas for your sunglasses. I can't give the props that I necessarily want to this vehicle because you can't lock the glove box these days. It's like a hit or miss. Looking up at the headliner, though, you will notice so many grab handles. It is extremely tempting to go Baja as soon as you buy this. These seats are ridiculously nice, though. You got this really nice, soft, plushy leather. You got your own armrest. As far as these aftermarket mirrors, though, just like with my F-150, only the top big glass is power operated and the rest is manual. In the rear, there's not much to cover back here other than the fact that you can enjoy being in the Excursion, one of the coolest SUVs that used to be on the market, but you still have your really nice, comfortable leather seating. Still got all this cubic footage of space, of room and everything. The headliner has so many vents. I also like it when vehicles have the climate control vents on the pillars as well, so it blows right on your face, but these are quite enough. There's 3 of them back here, so you better enjoy them. There's also some back there, but they're aimed towards the 3rd row a little bit more. The main difference from the door panels from the front to the rear is that you don't have a door lock button. It's just the window button, which is automatic, obviously, and then you can lock the door, but it's this little tab you pull up and down right here on the top of the door frame. But you do have some cup holders if the front occupants aren't using them. And then you have a 12-volt cigarette style outlet. And then you also can change the volume and audio back here as well, and also plug in a headphone jack. Something I noticed about the 3rd row is that on the left side, you have a little storage cubby area and also a cup holder. But on the right side, that cubby holder area is fixed in place, but at least you still have your cup holder and you can once again enjoy the nice, soft leather plush seats. All right, so in case you were wondering, the wheel and tire combination on this particular SUV, we got the Lone Star off-road wheels right here. They're 35 by 12, 50R20 LTs. It's incredible how the size of the vehicle and the lift will make a 20-inch rim look so small, but these are indeed 20 inches. And since we're at this angle, not only am I already giving you shots of the suspension and the lift, but take a look at that exhaust tip. That thing is huge. All right, so there's your DOS dedicated tour of one of the best SUVs that ever went on sale, at least in the US market. I know this wasn't necessarily a reliability real-world ownership video, but when I get the opportunity to provide something as cool as this in front of the camera, I will definitely take it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for sticking around, the real ones that have. And that's it.